Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to Season 2 of the Union Leipzig Career Mode series. Last season we avoided relegation and then some. In this season, the owner makes our goals clear, continue to build on what we had from last year, and develop German talent on our way to the very top of the country. So, our concrete objectives this season are to finish in the top 6 in the league and improve on the underlying stats, our expected goals and goals against. We just want to do a better job than last season. So, as we get down to business, this is the squad that we finished last season with, and we're gonna make some quick changes. First off, it means getting rid of some of the dead weight in the team, and that means players like Emeka Obi, who haven't really played a role in a while, are going out on loan, and some of our more unused players are outright sold to raise some funds for us. So with the outgoing transfers confirmed, now it's time to bring players in. We've requested a center back and a goalkeeper, and the owner promises they're gonna help back us. Now, we just brought in a director of football around January of last season, so this is going to be our first real window working with him to get in big new signings, and these are the two players he's come and identified as potentials for our squad. Now, both of these players look to be solid, not super inspiring signings, but with the money we have available, it's about all that we can get. David Grbić is coming in to be our new tough tackling center back, and it's a much needed replacement for our goalkeeper Stefan Kraus, who retired at the end of last season. We're bringing in a free agent on some good business who can fill in there. And taking a look at this, that is our transfer movement for this window. We brought in 2 players, loaned out a few, and now here's the team we're going to be going into this season with. Now, it's not drastically different than what we had at the end of last season, but at least fill some holes in the squad. And I think the most important thing is we're keeping the core that was working pretty well for us. So in our starting 11, obviously Cerny is a slot in for the goalkeeping position, but we're also gonna have our new signing Grbić in between our 2 ball-playing center backs, Schultz and Bouchard. So we'll have one who's really good defensively, 2 that are better on the ball, and honestly, this should be some nice balance. The other question is what to do with our central midfielders. We have 2 box-to-box central midfielders with Sommer and Kruger. I'm going to go ahead and start both of them based off of what we saw at the end of last season, and hopefully then up top we have Fofana and Bush ready to lead the line with Bergman on the bench. We actually have a pretty good squad now. And the final question to figure out before we start the season is, how is our academy looking? Now, one of the central tenets of this team is supposed to be that we're developing our own talent. So we're gonna go ahead and send out our youth scout to specifically look for a goalkeeper. We have a short-term solution, at least for this season, but we definitely need some cover going forwards. And speaking of which, let's take a quick check-in with some of the existing academy players. Now, Cedric Makoko for a whole year now has been our most promising academy talent. I don't know if he's ready for the first team just yet. We already have 3 senior strikers, but I do think it's just a matter of time before we see him in the squad at some point. But we actually have a couple other solid striking options as well, and some players around the rest of the pitch, so we'll see who actually gets involved or not. But for now, I think we're ready to start the season, and funny enough, it's gonna be the German Cup where we take on Stuttgart, a team we've seen many times before already in this series. Well, one of the running themes last season was our defense, or lack thereof, as we conceded a good amount of goals, and now with 2 new signings, will we see that improve? We lost a big player in our captain Kraus, but so far we're holding firm. And in terms of the attack, we saw Julian Bush absolutely shine at the end of last season, moving from being a right winger to one of our actual out-and-out strikers. But going into this season, the question's gonna be, can he keep up that good form he showed and really make a full transition to being a striker going forwards for the long term? He's still not the finished product yet. But one thing is clear, Julian Bush has a ton of talent. We see that particularly with his dribbling. He takes his defenders on so easily, but it's the finish at the end of the move that's not always there. And Union Leipzig looked to be the dominant team through the first 90 minutes here, but unable to find a goal despite some brilliance from players like Bush. We're seeing a lot of confidence and ability on the ball, but no goals, and the full-time whistle blows. This one is gonna go to extra time. And as the game drags on, it's a familiar story here in extra time. Julian Bush playing really well and creating chances, but still no goal. Well, these are the growing pains we're gonna have to deal with, playing an out-of-position winger up top at striker. However, it could come to punish us here as a huge save from the new goalkeeper, Thomas Cerny, keeps us in this one late. We haven't had a lot of chances go against us, but that one easily could have been a goal, and somehow Union Leipzig hang on here. We've overall played well, but the big question is who's going to be able to find a goal? We have two really good creative forwards with Fofana and Bush. Neither one of them, again, is the most clinical player, and outside of that, I don't know how many options we have as Fofana is looking for Bush. That's our right back, Brandt, getting into the box, who cuts inside. Great move, better finish! Well, there you have your answer. Sometimes it's the other players that have to get involved in the play, and our right wing back, Brandt, comes all the way from deep to create a chance himself. And against all the odds, one of the most unlikely goal scorers on the pitch finds the goal that takes us to the next round of the German Cup. Some very promising signs from Union Leipzig and a big win in our first competitive match of the season. Alright, well, without further ado, it's time for league action, and hopefully we'll be able to show that we can build on what we had last season and make an even better showing here in our second campaign. Now, we haven't shaken the team up too much since last season. In fact, I think we did a really good job picking out who our most important players were and building a solid core. Now, obviously we lost our captain Stefan Kraus, like I've mentioned many times already, but we got two new defensive signings in, and speaking of the defense, we concede right off the kickoff there. That was an unstoppable shot. You can't really blame too many of the players there. But I do think it's going to take some time for us to rebuild our defensive confidence. And I think some of that's going to have to come from not literally just the defensive players, but some of our central midfielders as well. We have two box-to-box center mids in Kruger and Sommer, and we see Kruger closing down a little overly rash perhaps and picking up a card for his efforts. But you can see the kind of role with the intensity and pressing that those players are going to play in our system. But now a goal down in our first game of the season, Union Leipzig need a response from our offense, which showed a lot of promise last game, but not a lot of end result. And we're kind of seeing the same here. A lot of possession, but not too many clear-cut chances. It's Julian Bush with a nice little reverse pass for Wolski, the left back. Fofana, chance, goal! There you have it. Well, we were talking about our players needing to be more clinical and stepping up to score, and our experienced number 9, Fofana, finally gets us a goal. And now Union Leipzig looking to really twist this game in our favor as Julian Bush has an option ahead of him. And again, it's the left back Wolski coming all the way up the pitch. Can he pick out the right pass for Fofana? Great chance, saved by the goalkeeper. Oh, well, we're looking for players like Fofana, who are some of the older players in the squad, to step up in big moments. He did earlier in the game, but unfortunately couldn't convert that one. And it leaves us level on goals right now in this game. A game we've honestly looked pretty confident in, but unfortunately for us, looks like we could have a counterattack on now as, oh my god, Union Leipzig concede a second against the run of play. I honestly think we've been a little hard done by this. We've played all right, but man, a shot like that, unstoppable, even for our new goalkeeper. And unfortunately, it's a loss in our first game of the season. But I don't think I'm seeing any real concerning signs from the team. In fact, I think we have a really good starting 11 worked out. It's just a matter of players getting back up to form after this summer break. And I think the real story this season might be the search for a new leader in this team. We gave the captain's armband to Wolf, who has been a little quiet this season, and you could just tell the impact it's had on our back line, losing our captain back there. The organization's off, and unfortunately, we definitely look more susceptible to conceding than we did at the tail end of last year. And I think another one of the running themes is going to be the players up top. Now, we're creating a lot, as we can see here with Fofana, who finds Bush, the chance, it's just wide. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Bush, he has all the right qualities, and I'm not suggesting we don't keep playing him, but it's just the finishing that needs improvement if he really wants to become a top striker. And the reality is we have Tobias Bergman, a more natural striker on the bench who I don't think offers as much as an overall player, but if we're really hurting for goals, that's going to be another option for us as Julian Bush drags another shot wide, but it's not for a lack of effort. And here we go again, Union with a lot of the ball here and definitely giving it our all in terms of trying to find a goal. Bush linking up with Kruger, Fofana. It's a lot of fluidity here in the attack as Julian Bush, another shot wide. And so much of the talk so far has already been focused, and kind of rightfully so, around Julian Bush. He's a player who showed so much at the end of last season, but so far this season, it's been a little disappointing as he gives the ball away again. There's just so much promise there. We want to see him do well, but I don't know, we're not quite seeing everything fall into place just yet. And I don't know, our defense hasn't looked amazing yet, but I'm seeing some promising signs from our new signings. David Gerbich, although he just gave the ball away there, is showing some real promise in being able to make tackles and a couple decent saves by the goalkeeper. And even if it's not the most convincing, the defense is doing their job at least, and we need the attack to do the same as Julian Bush is looking to add his flair up top, but the pass given right away. I don't know if it's a confidence problem or what, but you can see we're just not really seeing the end result of the player that we did with Julian Bush last season as another shot tests our goalkeeper. Serenity, easy enough save there, but I don't know. I think I'm just expecting more from a player that was really becoming a star at the end of last season. We're not exactly seeing the same here, but Fofana actually has looked sharp in the build-up play, and the ball continues on here as Bush finds Wolski on the side, and here we have Julian Bush taking his man on one-on-one. This is what he can do. Julian Bush shaping up for the shot. How about that for a finish? Well, it hasn't been the best game from him, but that is what Julian Bush is capable of. Pulling a goal out of absolutely nothing. I said this a few times last season, but this guy can do things with the ball that no one else on our team and maybe even the league can. He's just such a chaotic force up top, and the moments like that are worth all of the moments where he missed some easier finishes. So with time winding down now, I think it's time for Bush to get a much needed rest. We're gonna bring on Tobias Bergman and a couple other players just to refresh the squad a little bit, but I am interested to see how our more target man of a striker can do up top when given the chances. If anything, the competition should be healthy for the squad. So with 10 minutes remaining in the game, we do give a chance to our other striker to show what he's got over Bush, and we see a much more direct version of a target man up top. Bergman goes straight for goal, and then again with a second chance. Unlucky, honestly, not to score there. But that directness is something we don't necessarily see with Bush. So it gives us a big something to think about going forwards. Which two of the three strikers are we going to be pairing together up top? And with a corner kick here, another ball in for Bergman, puts it directly at goal. That's an incredible save. Another good shot from our substitute striker. Well, that's game for Union Leipzig as we see it through for a narrow victory, but one that we honestly should have probably won by a much bigger margin. We had a lot of good chances, but I don't know, again, we're seeing players not necessarily be the most clinical with what we're creating. And as the season goes on, we are starting to see some interest in the players that we're developing. Noah Bouchard, a defensive mid who's become one of our starting center backs, is getting some significant offers in, but we're not even gonna consider selling any of our valuable players right now. We need to cling on to everything we can and really start to build, like I've been saying, a core of players for the future. He's actually been one of the surprising players of this series, really. A little underrated, perhaps. He came in as sort of a panic signing in our first window, but has become one of our key players in that back line. But going forwards, we want to see more from players like Bouchard, who are experienced to help carry this team through difficult periods. Now, it's only been a couple games. I wouldn't even call this a difficult period necessarily, but in a season that we really want to see improvement in the team, I think it's clear that we need to do a little better than what we've been showing. We were actually better at the end of last season. But I think it'll take some new time for, I don't know, the new players to settle and us to get back into the rhythm of a season here as Lucas Schultz does a great job defensively cutting that out. That's better from our center backs. The big question, though, is going to be, once we start coming up against the bigger teams in the league, how is this defense going to hold up? That's been a little makeshift at times. As a chance comes in, it's great from our new goalkeeper. Well, that's a big sign that maybe he will be an important player in between the sticks for us. Now on the other end of the pitch, who's going to be able to find us a goal as Brandt charges forwards? We have a couple options ahead of him now. Shaping up at the top of the box, Fofana has Sommer, top of the box, touch, shot. Oh, well done from our academy graduate. But the central midfielder can't find a goal just yet. Great opportunity, though. It is worth noting that Sommer is, I think, only 17 or 18 now. Bush is only 21. We have a lot of young players here as Bush gets a chance in the box, and again, the shot dragged wide. But I don't know, when the form isn't exactly flowing, it's those younger players who are probably gonna suffer the most. They don't have the experience to dig themselves out yet. So, I don't know, taking a look at the ratings here at halftime, it's been a little less than impressive from some of these players. So, I'm gonna go ahead and make a tactical substitution. We're chasing a goal. I'm not gonna take Bush off, but I'm gonna move him out of the wing and bring on Tobias Bergman up top. Maybe this is the way that we can get the most of all three of our good attacking players. It's a little riskier, obviously, defensively, but we'll see exactly how this pans out, though, as Bergman plays the ball through. It's Simon Wolf! Oh, save from the goalkeeper, and a second time! Absolutely incredible! Third time! Oh, we just can't score. Well, Union Leipzig very much having the opportunities in this game, but not the finish. And as we're into the second half here, this could be a chance against us. Oh my lord, how have we clung on there? Again, a little less than convincing on defense, but somehow we managed to keep a hold of a clean sheet as we launch an attack on the other end now. Fofana giving the overlapping run from Julian Bush out wide. What's he got in his locker? Takes on his man. Beautiful. Tobias Bergman. Fofana. Chance, and it's cut out. Simon Wolf on the follow-up, and the shot deflected. Well, this game could go either way, and unfortunately it's looking to go against us here as Cerny, our new goalkeeper, makes a huge save, and then the second shot hit wide. And you could tell here late in the game, we're just losing control of things as again the opposition dances through our backline. Chance, another save from the goalkeeper. Well, it's been huge from our new signing to keep us in this game, and unfortunately, that's the final whistle. It's a draw, but we did well enough to hang on. Well, we're not exactly lighting the league on fire. We're in 12th place after a handful of games and definitely looking for better. And in the meantime, we're starting to get some of these youth academy reports in the search for a long-term goalkeeper. Fortunately, I think we saw some good things from our short-term signing, but we're gonna need a player who can really be part of the team for the long haul here. And I don't think we found him just yet. But again, we have some promising players in our academy, and notably, Sasha Schneider seems to be our best option. However, at 50 overall, I mean, that kind of player is definitely not ready for the starting 11, and I don't think he has immense potential anyways, so TBD with a lot of these young players. I'm not sure exactly who's going to be able to make it through the academy or not, and we definitely need some more investment because it's hardly like we have world beaters in there yet. But as we get back to the games, the focus is going to be honestly on our defense. It's looked okay so far, but I can't help but feeling like we're slightly overperforming the way we've been playing. However, I'm seeing some good signs. Our new goalkeeper played well last game, and I think we've quietly seen David Gerbich be a good option at center back. He's kind of the player that we hoped, for those of you who remember back at the beginning, Becker would be as like a strong sort of leader in the middle of our back line. And we see exactly that as we get some bodies in front of the ball here and the attack comes against us. It's actually our central midfielder, Kruger, who drops back to help cover in that situation. You can just see how important players from all over the pitch are. And here, Julian Bush has the opportunity, through on goal, and saved by the goalkeeper. And again, just disappointing from Bush, who honestly should be finishing more of these chances. The thing is, he offers us so much not in front of goal that it's worth having him in the team almost no matter what. As we can see, Bush is just so smooth on the ball and in his build-up play, and we see exactly that here as Wolski finds Wolf, who looks to play it through. Bush has a chance, it's deflected and out for a corner kick. We're getting so close, but nothing yet. And sometimes I just feel like maybe we need some time for players like Bush to play through these rough periods of form as he gets another chance. Again, you just feel like it's a matter of time before things start to go his way. But with the scoreline still level at halftime, unfortunately, Vincent Sommer is injured, and that means we're gonna have to take off arguably our best central midfielder and hope that it won't affect the team too much. But Union Leipzig still desperate for a goal here. Can we create something? We got about 20 minutes left in the game. Plenty of time still for us to be patient in the build-up. Julian Bush finds Fofana over the top. Can he find the return pass? Ball played through. Bush can't quite get there, but again, relentless pressure from this team. Fortunately, Fofana has stayed down. Hopefully that's not too serious. Kruger finds Wolf, who plays through Bush. Perfect chance, and there you have it. Julian Bush finally gets a well-deserved goal. I know his finishing hasn't been the most lethal, but he's creating so many chances, getting into the right spots, and you just feel like with the work he's putting in up top, that is a much overdue goal. It's about time, and what an important goal that is. And I think I'm realizing Bush might be one of these confidence players that just thrives from when things are going well, and we see exactly that as following his goal. How about that for an incredible piece of skill? Julian Bush, Kruger, Wolf, chance, it's saved! But look at this piece of skill. I mean, that is absolutely brilliant for any level. Even though we are down here in Division 3, I get a feeling this kid could take a step up. So a great performance from Julian Bush, all in all. He finally gets a goal and we get a win. And in the aftermath of that game, unfortunately, we picked up a few injuries. Sommer's only out for a few days. He should be back for our next game, but more important than that, Nico Fofana is out for 4 weeks, which means we are gonna have to make the most of our depth up top. That's gonna mean switching Bush to the more creative right-sided striker role, while Tobias Bergman's gonna be more of our target man to try to get goals. Maybe the two of these players can form a partnership together. And actually, let's finally take a look at the table. I know we haven't done it yet, but after 4 games, we are sitting in 6th place. Not too bad at all. We're actually exactly in the range we wanted to be in the top 6, and I think we could do even better than this. And you know, taking a look at the stats, we're only 5 games in, so it's hard to draw too many conclusions. But you know, even though Bush has felt like he's missing a lot of chances, 2 goals in 5 games isn't that bad, and I do think we'll see better. Thankfully, we're seeing some contributions from other players, but I'm expecting as the season goes on that we see some more consistent goal scorers emerge in this team. So here we go, back into action. Bergman and Bush start together up top. Can the two of them link up to find the goals that have been kind of eluding us so far as Julian Bush shapes up? Oh, it's a poorly given away ball, but we retain possession here as it's recycled out. Wolf twisting and turning, looking for a way through. And again, he finds Bush, who has a chance. Blocked shot, but a good opportunity. And as the games go on, Union Leipzig definitely growing in confidence. It feels like we're the type of team that builds a lot of momentum and then has potential to kind of lose that. It was a rusty start to the season, but it's mostly been good. And Julian Bush, oh, how about that? The pressure, surely now he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Bush, oh, buries the chance. That's as easy as you'll get. But, you know, that's down to the hard work and pressing we're seeing. Again, maybe he's not the most natural target forward, but everything he does, both on and off the ball, is just so vital to this team. And as we go into the second half here, it's just more of the same. As Brandt looks to pick out the pass option in midfield, as Kruger on it now. Julian Bush takes his man on. How about that little dink up to Bergman, who can't quite get there, but again, flash of brilliance from our young striker. And at some point, it almost just gets old constantly talking about Bush, but he's always the one involved in the play. And here we go again as he takes on the defense and looks for a shot through. It is blocked, but another well-worked opportunity as Summer recycles the ball. Possession inwards now for Wolf. Little dink over the top. It's Bush. Diving header straight at the goalkeeper. But you can't blame him for not finishing that one. That was a difficult chance and honestly did well to keep it on target. And you know, for the most part in these games, I do think we've genuinely been the better side. We're not conceding a whole lot of chances, but I guess reminder that it could happen is a ball over the top. Ends up in the back of the net. That's going to be offsides though, and we got away with a warning there. 15 minutes left, and Union Leipzig with these 1-goal leads do have to be careful. But thankfully, we do a great job of holding on until the final whistle. It would be nice to score some more and give us some cushion in games like this. But for now, 3 points is 3 points. And it's actually been a really solid start to the season so far. All right, well, we're in 4th place right now, and it's transfer deadline day, but I think we've got all our business sorted out. Fairly quiet window, but in a good way for us. I think we're building something solid here. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We got some big games coming up next episode, and I hope to see you there.